guys, I'm Brianna. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually really excited for this video. I know I have a lot of these and I feel like readers everywhere have a lot of them, and that's the dreaded book slump. I'm kind of in one right now, which is very sad, and I haven't read that many books in August. So yeah, I think it's because I'm packing for college and I see all these books I'm bringing to college and I want to read them now, but I can't because they're for college. So that's kind of why I'm in a book slump. But for me, I do have a couple books here that I always read or do that I recommend to read if you have a book slump. I feel like either reading a light fluffy contemporary or a whole series that's going to get like really good right away and get you invested in it. I think that's what you should do when you have a book slump. That's personally what I do, and these are the couple books that I have read in the past that I recommend that I think are really good for book slumps. So the first book I have here is the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. I'm thinking if you haven't read this and you are in a book slump, I would jump right into this novel and this series and this world, because you really get invested into it and you kind of get sucked into the world that you'll be able to read more books after this, if that makes sense. And it is a fantasy, so fantasies are kind of very different, and it's not just the typical books that you normally read, but I really recommend this. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and just everything about it is just so awesome and great, and each book is very different, so I really enjoyed this. The next book I have is like a classic favorite for me, and that's the Selection series by Kiera Cass. If you like The Bachelor, you will like this book. I think this book is just a very quick book to read just because of how tiny it is, but it's kind of like light and fluffy, but at the same time there's a lot of drama involved with it. So I think this book is just a great book to read when you have a book slump, because you want to read more. So it kind of gives you a little bit, and it's not too I'm trying to think of the word, like too focused or too much plot in it, if that makes sense. So it's not too hard to follow along to, and I just really liked this book. A very quick read, and I actually due for a reread of this series, and I really recommend it. I flew through it, and it's just easy to get into if you are in a book slump. The next book I have is The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I absolutely love this book, and don't worry, I know it is really big, but it definitely has gotten me out of my book slumps more than I can count. It is very dramatic and a lot of that, but Jennifer's writing is just very easy to get into and easy to just read and get invested into, so I think this book is just a great read. It talks about a lot of really important things in general in society, and with that aspect, it kind of reminds me of The Hate U Give with some of the things it discusses, but I just think this is a great story to read. It is pretty long, so it will be a prolonged read for you, but I think this was just a great novel to read during my book slump, and yeah, I love it so much. Just so good. But this is more of a realistic fiction book. This follows a girl named Mallory who is a selective mute, and there's something that happened way back when in her childhood, and now she's adopted, and she was homeschooling, and she's finally going to high school for the first time. So it's all about her in high school, but it's also about her and this guy named Ryder, and all about their past and how it translates to their present, and I just really love this book. The next book I have here is one of my new favorites, and that's The Game Can't Love You Back by Carol Kozo. This book is just great. It's a YA kind of sports romance, if that makes sense, and it's just very funny. It's a fun atmosphere. Everything about this book is such a good get out of my book slump read, if that makes sense. I don't know, I just really enjoyed this book when I read it. It has more spring vibes to it because it's baseball, but you can be read in the fall, it could be whenever you have a book slump, and it's very quick and a good kind of classic YA romance read to get you out of that book slump. Then I have On the Fence by Casey West, and I recommend pretty much most of Casey West's books, especially this one and P.S. I Like You. Those are kind of my two favorites. There's another one that I forgot about. I don't own it, but those are like my three favorites. She's very light, fluffy, contemporary. She's the typical contemporary person that you think of when you think of YA, and her books are just really good for a quick read if you don't want to be invested in it, so aka after a book slump. And this one specifically follows a girl named Charlotte Reynolds, and they call her Charlie, and she's kind of the tomboy, and I believe she likes her neighbor, so it's all about her like trying to like be more girly and get him to notice her. But I really enjoyed this book, and I like Casey West's novels for a quick read if you want that. Next I have one of my classic favorites, and that's Evermore by Cindy Miles. I love this book. I recommended it in a couple videos already or coming up. I don't know when I'm posting this video, but I really love this. It's a mixture of a fantasy and a romance, and it's like, I don't know, it has a ghost in it. So it's about this girl named Ivy who moves from America, from the States to Scotland because her mom married her stepdad, and it's all about them living in this huge manor, and she ends up finding a ghost there, and there's stuff that's not going right, if that makes sense. And I loved it. It was very, very quick read. The writing, like the words are pretty big for a book, and just everything about this book is just really good to read. Then I have Misadventures of a College Girl by Lauren Rowe. If you want something funny that will make you laugh out loud, this book is it. This book is hilarious, and it takes place in college, so if you want a kind of college sports romance book, this is it. This was just so funny. I loved the main girl and the guy character. I was literally laughing a ton. I forgot some of the references they made because I read this a couple months ago, but they made like some stupid references that were just so funny that you couldn't not laugh at them. And I think this is a great book to read if you want to laugh and you want something kind of light, because this is it, and read it after a book slump. Then I have Whatever Life Throws at You by Julie Cross. I love this book as well. This is probably my favorite Julie Cross book I've ever read. And this follows a girl who is an athlete as well as a guy. She is on the track team, and she's like a track superstar, and she's in high school, and this guy is a Royals pitcher, Kansas City Royals pitcher, and her dad is the coach for the Kansas City Royals, so that's baseball. So he's older than her, he's in the major leagues, all that already, and she is in high school, so it kind of follows their relationship, her track skills and all that. I just really loved this book, and it's a great, I feel like just a great romance in general, and just everything about this book was really, really good when I read it. And it has the meets and the baseball games in here, so you have the sports aspect, you have just everything in this book, and it's just a great book to read. Next, you have My Lucky Catch by Siem Deporto. This is book, I think, like 6 of the series, but this one's a standalone compared to the other ones. Or is this book 5? 4? I'm not sure. The other one, I think it's 3 or 4 books, and that is the football book one type of thing. But I recommend this one if you want a standalone quick romance book, just because this one is not as drama filled or as like emotional as the football ones. The football ones, I think you have to be like you really want to read those, but this one's really good. It follows the original girl from the football romances, her love story, and it obviously has baseball in it, so it's about the baseball team, and this takes place in college as well. I love it, and of course this cover is beautiful. I love the purple that has happening, and the back cover is gorgeous as well. Very short novel. I really recommend it. And then the last books I have is Any Book by Miranda Kennelly. I love her books. I only own 3 of them, unfortunately. I own the football romance, soccer romance, and swimming romance. So, of course, I own all the sports ones. But there's just a book for everyone. There's a running one. There's a kind of country ranch one, singing one. So I love all of them. these are just great books to read. They're very short, but there's a lot of, ooh, I just hiccuped. There's a lot of stuff that happens in these books, and I just really love these books in general. They're just great reads and a great time, and yeah, I really recommend these if you have a book slump, because they kind of get you out of the rut, and just each one's great. So yeah, and they're actually kind of all the same. They all have grass in them, which is so funny. But the three that I own are Catching Jordan, which I recommend to like everyone. This is like one of my absolute favorite books. And then I have Defending Taylor, which is, well, Catching Jordan's high school. Defending Taylor is she goes to a private school and then she gets kicked out, and it's all about her relationship with her brother's best friend. I enjoyed this, but not as much as I enjoyed the rest of her series. And then I have Coming Up for Air, which is her newest release that came out last year I think, or 2 years ago, something like that. But I loved this one. This follows Maggie, and I just really felt connected to her as a character, but they pretty much all take place in high school or around high school or kind of that age, so they're probably between like 15 and 18 age-wise. But I just love her book so much, and I hear she's writing something new because she stopped this series, so I'm excited to see what it is. So that's it for my book slump video. I hope you guys enjoyed this and got some recommendations, and just let me know if you want anything else recommended for book slumps. You know, come to me. I'm in one right now, so I understand the feeling, and they suck. But yeah, so I hope you liked this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one.